Hello everyone, welcome to Cosmic English Academy. In this video, we are going to talk about summary and the explanation of the poem Small Towns and the River written by Mamang Dai. So without a further ado, let's get started. At first, let us discuss a brief summary of the poem Small Town and the River. This poem is basically about life and death in small towns. The speaker thinks about how death is a part of life and how nature, like the river, keeps going forever. The poem also talks about the traditions and belief of the people in the small town. Small towns always remind me of death. My hometown lies calmly amidst the trees. It is always the same in summer or winter, with the dust flying or the wind howling down the gorge. So, in this stanza, the poetess is saying that whenever she thinks of small towns, she is reminded of death. This might seem morbid, but it's likely because small towns can be quiet, still, and unchanging, much like death. Poetess then describes her hometown, which is peaceful and serene, surrounded by trees. The town does not change much, regardless of the season, whether it is summer or winter. The town remains calm. The image of dust flying and wind howling down the gorge creates a sense of time passing, but the town remains unchanged. It is as if the time stands still in this small town. The poet is reflecting on the quiet, unchanging nature of small towns, and it reminds her of the stillness of death. Just the other day, someone died. In the dreadful silence, we wept, looking at the sad wreath of tuber roses. Life and death. Life and death, only the rituals are permanent. In second stanza, poetess is reflecting on a recent death in her community. The atmosphere is somber and silent. The poetess is overcome with grief. She is looking at a wreath made of tuber roses, which is a traditional funeral flower in many cultures. The poetess then ponders the cycle of life and death, suggesting that these two states are intertwined and inevitable. However, amidst this cycle, the poetess notes that the only constants are the ritual and traditions surrounding death. In other words, the poetess is saying that life and death are transient, but the way we honor and mourn the dead remains relatively unchanged. This is a poignant reflection on human experience and our thoughts to make sense of mortality. The river has a soul. In the summer, it cuts through the land like a torrent of grief. Sometimes I think it holds its breath, seeking a land of fish and stars. In this stanza, poets begin by attributing a soul to the river, implying that it's a living, sentient being. The personification sets the tone for a deeply emotional and symbolic exploration of the river's nature. The river's behavior in the summer is likened to a torrent of grief, suggesting that it's a force both powerful and sorrowful. This imagery evokes a sense of intense emotional turmoil as if the river is mourning something. The phrase sometimes I think it's hold its breath create a sense of quiet contemplation. The speaker is suggesting that the river, in its moment of stillness, is holding its breath in anticipation of something. The final phrase, seeking the land of fish and stars, is a breathtakingly beautiful and dreamlike image. The speaker is implying that the river is yearning for a mystical or paradisical realm where it can find solace and connection with the natural world. This passage is stunningly exploration of the human relationship with the nature and the way in which we attribute emotional and symbolic meaning to the world around us. The river has a soul. It knows, stretching past the town, from the first drop of rain to the dry earth and the mist on the mountain tops, the river knows the mortality of water. So, in this stanza, poet says that the river has a deep understanding and memory. It knows everything from its source in the mountain to its end in the town. It sees the raindrop fall, the dry earth soak up the water, and the mist form on the mountain tops. The river knows that the water is eternal and never truly dies. It keeps flowing, changing shape, and cycling back to its source. This knowledge gives the river a sense of immortality or living forever. A shrine of happy pictures marks the days of childhood. Small towns grow with anxiety for the future. The dates are placed pointing west. When the soul rises, it will walk into the golden east, into the house of the sun. So, here in this stanza, the first line begins by describing a shrine of happy pictures that marks the days of childhood. This line suggests that the community values and cherishes memories of childhood, and that these memories are preserved in a sacred or special place. And the next line, small towns grow with anxiety for the future, suggests that despite the nostalgic memories of childhood, the community is also aware of the challenges and uncertainties of the future. This line adds a sense of realism and concern to the passage. And then the next line describes the community burials tradition. The dead are placed pointing west. This line suggests that the community has a specific and meaningful way of laying their dead or rest. And final line, when the soul rises, it will walk into the golden east, into the house of the sun, reveals the community's spiritual belief about the afterlife. The image of the soul rising and walking into the golden east is a powerful and evocative one, suggesting a belief in an afterlife that is bright, beautiful, and full of light. The reference to the house of the sun adds a sense of warmth and welcome to the stanza. In the cool bamboo restored in light, life matters like this. In small towns by the river, we all want to walk with the god. So here, in first line of this stanza, poet talks about the beauty of nature. The line begins by describing the cool bamboo restored in sunlight. This image evokes a sense of peace and tranquility, and the use of the word restored suggests a sense of renewal and rejuvenation. And the next phrase talks about the significance of life. The life matters like this is a profound statement about the importance of life. The use of the word matters emphasizes the significance and value of life, and the phrase like this suggests a sense of simplicity and wonder. And the final phrase, in small towns by the river, we all want to walk with the gods, reveals a deep seated spiritual longing. The image of walking with the God is a powerful and evocative one, suggesting a desire for connection with something greater than oneself. The reference to small towns by the river adds a sense of intimacy and community to the poem or to the passage. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.